Recording in progress.
Good evening, everyone. It is now 7 o'clock. I call to order our meeting for Monday, October 6th, 2025. And for all of you that are able to, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Excellent. I appreciate the large crowd tonight. Welcome, everybody. I ask that you silence your cell phones, and if you need to take a call, head outside. Otherwise, it is more than welcome to participate and be part of the discussion tonight. We're all in a community. We're in this together. Let's do roll call, Ms. Hogan.
Did you record for Zoom?
I did, yeah.
Okay. Councilmember Rounds?
Here.
Councilmember Burke?
Here.
Councilmember Hall?
Here.
Councilmember Houston?
Here.
Councilmember Friend?
Here.
I believe we have Councilmember Dowdy online this evening.
Ms. Dowdy is online.
And then Councilmember Frymark is out this evening.
I'd like to make a motion to suspend council rules.
Here.
To allow Melissa to participate tonight.
Second.
I make a motion to excuse Mr. Frymark.
Second.
So let's go with the first motion here first to suspend council rules and allow Melissa, Ms. Dowdy, to call in. I have a first and a second. Ms. Hogan.
Councilmember Rounds?
Aye.
Councilmember Burke?
Aye.
Councilmember Hall?
Aye.
Councilmember Houston?
Aye.
Councilmember Friend?
Aye.
Okay, then I had another motion here where from Ms. Rounds
Second,
and a
Friend.
second from Mr. Houston to excuse Mr. Frymark. So, Ms. Hogan.
Councilmember Rounds?
Aye.
Councilmember Burke?
Aye.
Councilmember Dowdy?
Aye.
Councilmember Hall?
Aye.
Councilmember Houston?
Aye.
Councilmember Friend?
Aye.
All right. Next item is officer recognition. So can I ask the chief to come up for some officer recognition?
If I can turn this around without breaking it. You guys all came here tonight for the police department, right? I looked at the agenda. It didn't look like there was anything else important on there. See if I can get everybody right. Everybody who's been identified, so I don't have to call your names and get confused, who's getting an award tonight, please come up here. I can call your names if you want, but.
Can you do it in your wrestling voice?
Yeah, I can. Well, ladies, no. So, a few of these officers up here are getting recognized as being veterans of our military services. It was something that we used to do and kind of got away from in recent years, so we're bringing that back. I'll introduce them first, and then there's 3 other officers who are going to get an additional award other than that, so I'll make them stand by as well. Officer Alec Nelson served in the U.S. Navy. If you want to just come. Yeah, that way they can hear me. You're welcome. And then Officer Tim Bircher, he was U.S. Marines, or is U.S. Marine. Just so we're aware, Officer Bircher was hurt in the line of duty a while back. He's awaiting a procedure to get his hand fixed. That's why he doesn't look like everybody else, but he is still one of us. Officer Christopher Henderly, he was U.S. Army. Thank you, sir. Yeah, man, Officer Bryce Livesay, U.S. Marine, still. And then last but not least, U.S. Air Force for Officer Alec Olson. Alex, I'm sorry. We have an Alec Nelson and an Alex Olson, so it gets very confusing around here.
No Coast Guard.
Officer Livesay, Officer Thompson, and Officer Olson, please stay. The other 3, you guys can go. Thank you for your time. So, I've now been chief for an official year. They haven't fired me yet, so I must be doing something right. 2 of the best things that I get to do in my line of work, because I'll be honest, sometimes it gets pretty boring, is hiring people and then presenting awards to officers, which I think sometimes as leaders we forget the people that are below us. I hate using the word subordinates. It just seems like they're beneath us, but we're all equals, and I wouldn't be up here be able to do this job without these officers that are here tonight and the ones who couldn't make it either. So without further ado, the first one's going to be a medal of commendation, and the other thing is, for whatever reason, the places we order these medals from, they take forever for us to get them in. We're finally getting to a place where we're getting a little bit of surplus, so we don't have to wait and wait and wait. So they're not all going to officially get their little plaque and their medal and stuff, but it is checks in the mail, I promise. Well, I guess we'll see what the budget's like. Right? So Officer Thompson was on patrol, where's the date? September 6th, 2025. Vancouver PD put out a call about a kidnapping. It was a juvenile child. The parents were, into trouble, whatever. They were trying to, get this child back and into safety with Child Protective Services. The call came out. Officer Thompson just happened to be out on patrol. He saw the vehicle. Was it the Belmont Chevron? Okay. Saw the vehicle and instantly recognized it. Rather than just continuing to drive, he did what he's supposed to do. Officer Livesay came and acted as his cover officer. I received an email from a sergeant from Vancouver PD. I'll just read the first part of it, but it says, I wanted to pass along some info and gratitude to your officers for me and mine after this kidnapping call we had last night. Your officers located 2 parents unfit to take care of their almost 1-year-old infant. Their actions and keen observations led to the preserved safety of the child, if not keeping him from death or at least likely significant trauma. Below is a chief's brief we sent out at VPD, followed by that is a message from Officer Lupa, I'm going to mess up his name, but Palayo, that he wanted to send you. We just wanted to pass on our appreciation and assistance for this case. Essentially, their email says that this child was brought into safety because of Officer Thompson's quick actions and being able to identify that. For that, Officer Thompson is going to be awarded the Medal of Commendation when we receive it, and a Chief's coin at the same time. And we could stay up here, and your families can do photos. The mayor loves doing that stuff. So, following this, right? Yeah. That's great, buddy. So don't go anywhere. The next one is going to be Officer Alex Olson. For those that aren't aware, because I know not everybody gets the news, and if you're only getting your news from Facebook, you're probably doing something wrong. Anyways, 2023 was the last year that Cowlitz County had an actual humane society or animal control. So in the past, officers would respond to calls, whether they're making an arrest or a dog locked in a car, dog running in traffic, animal bites. We would still respond, but when we would get there, we would pass the next step off to animal control. They would take custody of the animal, they would issue citations and all that sort of thing. And to the, some levels having to put the animal down if that was necessary. Because of the Humane Society's changes, they put it back on the jurisdictions. Nobody was prepared, equipped, financially or anything to do this. We just had to make it up as we go along. We're getting better. We have a plan in place. We're working towards it, but it's still very much a work in progress. Officer Olson responded on a Friday morning to 2 pit bulls that were running loose around the area of our middle school. The pit bulls had already taken someone's dog. They killed one dog already and had bitten one of our citizens. When Officer Olson arrived, he saw the 2 pit bulls near the park area there across from the middle school. He opened his car door. He had his baton in his hand, and he was trying to coerce these dogs to get in his car so he could take them to the Humane Society. During that, he saw another lady, a citizen in our town, walking her German Shepherd puppy. These dogs instantly keyed in on that, and in 100 miles an hour, ears back, went after that puppy. I watched the video. I am a dog lover. I have a family dog. The video is terrible to watch. It's not pleasant by any means. Not to get too graphic, but both these pit bulls grabbed a hold of that little puppy like a stuffed toy and were about to tear it from limb. While the owner was frantically pulling at her dog, trying to rescue it too, putting herself in harm's way. Officer Olson attempted to use his baton. The dogs weren't responsive, so he was forced to protect the citizen, the lady. He pushed her aside. He drew his firearm. He fired 2 shots into one of the animals. Pit bulls are very durable. The one who took 2 9mm rounds to its abdomen got up, and they both ran home. Both those dogs are still alive, and we're still dealing with that process through all of our RCWs and whatnot that we have to do. But I am 100% convinced by Officer Olson's actions and his quick thinking, and not only that, but the way he was able to protect that citizen while drawing a firearm and shooting in such a close proximity, that he not only saved that lady's life, probably countless other lives if those dogs are still running. And fortunately, one dog was not saved, but the German Shepherd puppy did survive. So for that purpose, I decided that Officer Olson should be awarded a life-saving medal. So the Chief of Police of the Woodland Police Department takes great pleasure in awarding the department life-saving award to Officer Alex Olson. On August 29th, 2025, you distinguished yourself through your exemplary service and professional conduct. This award is a testament of your service to the citizens of the city of Woodland. Your dedication and professionalism reveal the depth of your commitment to law enforcement and your community, and in keeping with the finest traditions of the Woodland Police Department. So again, Officer Olson, life-saving award. Officer Livesay, what can I say about Officer Livesay? I bragged a little bit about him because a year ago, this is the first person I ever got to hire. He's still here. Not only is he still here, but he is a fine example of what our officer should be, and makes me proud to have been able to hire him. Hiring people in this line of work is not easy, and having to terminate them or ask for resignations is even harder. It's always a risk that we take. There's a high turnover in this job, but I've been very, very proud that Officer Livesay is still with us and still showing up to do his job. This one is kind of, I have a similar experience where in our line of work, we do CPR countless numbers of times, and unfortunately, more often than not, we're not successful. It usually gets handed off to aid and fire departments. They transport. Sometimes it doesn't even come to a transport because, again, we're just not successful. When we are successful, it does great things for our mental health and everything else because we feel good about what we've done. I had the same thing. I just happened to be in the right place, right time. I believe it was 2023. I was just around the corner from someone who needed CPR. They were able to live. It's a late 70-year-old gentleman. He called us a week later, and I was shocked because I did not, I was assumed the worst. I went over to his house. It was summertime. It was July, and he was up and walking and came outside and wanted to sit outside and talk. And I was like shocked and like, "Are you sure?" Because like sometimes I wake up with a bad back and I can't do this, and you just had a heart attack a week ago. So same thing, Officer Livesay was able to be in the right place at the right time and conduct life-saving measures to the point where when aid showed up, they themselves weren't too sure that this person was going to make it. They did make it. Officer Livesay was able to have a contact with them like a week later or the next day or something, wasn't it? Or
yeah, we called the hospital.
Okay. So again, he's going to be presented with the life-saving award. I can read the whole thing if you want me to read the whole thing. I'll just skip to the important stuff. On July 25th, 2025, you distinguished yourself through exemplary service and professional conduct. This award is a testament of your service to the citizens of the city of Woodland. Your dedication and professionalism reveal the depth of your commitment to law enforcement and your community, and in keeping with the finest traditions of the Woodland Police Department. So again, Officer Livesay, very early in his career, has been very fortunate that he was able to be in the right place at the right time and save a life, because it is a sad reality of what we have to do sometimes, and it doesn't always turn out this way. So I'm very proud to give him this award as well as his Chief's coin. So thank you. If I'm sure Mayor Deinhardt wants some photos and all that fun stuff.
Get your picture. Get over there. Come on, because this is the stuff
We
that's
can do
important
this,
to our
and then we
city
can do
here.
individual family photos. If somebody, nobody has cameras out, sir? Nobody
Yes,
wants to take
Greta has one right there.
I know I've gained a couple of pounds. I apologize for that. I'm trying. Okay, great.
And now get your family up here. Come on.
That
Come
is
on, your wife and kids.
It's a direct.
Come on.
It's a direct
Come on.
order.
I mean, we appreciate you sharing your husband's here. I mean, seriously. Thank you very, very much.
Do you have someone to take a photo? I can get you.
Mr. Smith right here's got it. Ms. Shaw, they've got them both.
We'll make sure you get copies.
Yep. Get in there with the chief.
I don't want to ruin their family photo. Such a nice. Good. I guess I'll just come over here.
Sure.
Before they go, and everyone scatters here, I would just like to point out a few things that are very obvious here, and where I want our community to appreciate. Over the last 2 years, you've heard it like a broken record from me. The city is, priority to me is community safety. We can get into all these other things and inconvenience of traffic, each and every one of your safety, my safety, these councilmen, our community safety is number one to me. These are all young families, and I'm getting emotional here because I have children their age. I have grandchildren the age of that. We all should appreciate what these young gentlemen are doing. There's, I see 4 of them right here. This is 25% of our police department. You throw these 2 in here, that's half of our police department. I mean, seriously, I want everyone to say thank you very much for everything you do for our community and for your spouses. So, families, thank you very much too, because I mean, it's a huge sacrifice you're making to our community, so thank you. With that, any comments or anything from the council that they would like to say? Anyone?
Just thank you.
Great job.
Excellent. Thanks. Be safe out there, gentlemen.
You're not the one who gave me a ticket. No.
Just
Apologies for getting choked up, but kind of person I am. All right. Next thing on here, I have a Make a Difference proclamation. So each year we have a Make a Difference. The chamber is a part of that. The city is with that. We have volunteers throughout the community. Individuals, families can contact Public Works and say, hey, I need things done anywhere from yard work to their porch painted to gutters done, roof moss taken off, lawn. It's random things. Last year we had about 75 volunteers that helped, and it was on, I believe, 14 to 17 homes. This year we're around 20 to 25 homes so far. And so that is coming up on October 25th, 2025. And so I wanted to read a proclamation. We're Make a Difference Day, where serious social problems concern our nation and threaten its future. Whereas connection with others and working together through volunteer service can bridge differences that separate people and help solve serious social problems. And whereas we, the American people, have a strong tradition of philanthropy and volunteerism. Whereas USA Weekend Magazine and its affiliate newspapers and the Points of Life Foundation and its affiliate volunteer centers have joined together to promote a national day of doing good that celebrates and strengthens the spirit of volunteer service. And whereas millions of self-sacrificing individuals touch and enhance the lives of millions of National Make a Difference Day by giving where there is a need, rebuilding what has been torn down, teaching where there is a desire to learn, and inspiring those who may have lost hope. And whereas volunteer service is an investment in the future we all must share, whereas the City of Woodland has joined together to promote and nurture an annual Make a Difference Day in the City of Woodland, now therefore I, Todd Deinhardt, in consultation with the City Council, do hereby proclaim October 25th, 2025 as Make a Difference Day in the City of Woodland, and urge all citizens to support and observe this day by connecting with friends, fellow employees and relatives, and with religious, school, and civic groups to engage in projects that make a difference and which benefit our community, dated this 6th day of October 2025. Any comments or things on that? I would just urge you to reach out to Public Works to volunteer. Again, we all have differences, but this is a day where we all can come together and recognize our community and our neighbors and those in need. Comments?
It's a good thing.
Absolutely. So, moving into the next item, citizens' communications for items not on the agenda. Mr. Alderman, come on up, sir.
Hi guys, thanks for having me. Tonight I'm here on behalf of the Lewis River Little League. We took over last year as president, a whole new board. Little background, that place has gone down. They haven't had the help. The place has gone downhill and they haven't had the community response and the help to get it back on track. Last year, a whole new board came in. I stepped in as president and a group of people came in with me that with the same passion that I do, and we worked our heinies off, and we're turning it around. We actually grew over 100 kids last year. We're at 317 kids last year. If you've been down to the park this year, you'll see a big difference. Paint, we changed color schemes. Anyways, to where I'm at now, why I'm here. The concession stands, and that place has not had water for almost 15 years. The original well of that place was actually on the adjoining property where they're building now. Before they sold it, the well went bad and it was arsenic. They shut it down. So anyways, it's on the side of the property now where they're building. Jeffries, working with Jeffries, Scott Jeffries in the construction, he's been great with us. They have city water right up to our property lines now. Scott says he will help do all the work, plus with everybody that we volunteers that know how to run the equipment, we can do the work. What I'm here for is to ask the city to help us out because we are nonprofit. Everything we do is either money we get in from fees, from players' fees, donations. We've had a ton of people help us out this year, some big time donors. One of them sitting right behind me that I can't thank him enough, Scott Jeffries. But we still have big plans. We're not done yet. But the problem is we need water and we need a meter. And so I'm here to ask the city if they could help us out with supplying us with the water meter so we can get water to that concession stand so we can have some hamburgers. I want the families to come out to watch a ball game and have a hamburger to watch these kids. It's a big part of this town and it's coming back alive and I want to continue the growth.
So Aaron, just not to put you on the spot, but dialogue, conversation.
Right.
So Jeffries, and I'm familiar with the property line, so water is there. So Jeffries is willing to dig the trench, pay for the line. You pay, when I say you,
Right,
we need
the
to
league.
pay for the meter. Is it a 3/4 inch meter that we're talking about? I'm looking over here at
Right.
Riley, sorry.
Yeah, well, we've had many conversations.
So that's why I'm making sure everyone is aware. And then from there, from your meter to your concession stands, are you asking for the city or is Jeffries doing that piece as well? So you just need
We need the meter. We can have, if the city can put a meter in for us, we can take care of everything else.
And the cost of what is $2,300 for a 3/4 inch meter?
So you have the cost of the meter and then you have the SDC charges for the water.
Got it.
We're looking at two different kind of things. There wouldn't be any sewer involved, obviously, but for the cost of the meter, it's about $285 just for the parts itself.
So how much?
But
how much
hold
is
on a second. But so you're without the other fees, you're saying just the cost of the meter only is what you're throwing out here. at
Yeah,
O'Reilly.
just for the cost of the 3/4 inch meter would be about $285.
And you're saying bygone, let bygone be bygones. On
Well,
the
and that's
fees.
where direction from council would put, if we want to look at alternative ways where we can help a nonprofit, the Little League, we can look at those options as well.
What is the other charges you were talking about? With everything together to get us where we need to run pipe so we get water to it. What altogether? What would that
So
be?
altogether charges with SDC assessment fees and the meter itself is about $1,700.
Can't we just waive all the fees and just charge them for the actual meter and what the city would be into the materials for?
And that's where the direction from council to pursue opportunities like that, we'd obviously have to look at legal and see where we can do, because we don't want to obviously run into the gift of public funds. So we can look at opportunities there. Since they are a nonprofit, we can look at opportunities to provide that. We just need direction from council to pursue those.
And
So
I
we're-
think I'm hearing direction from council.
So
Go
we're
ahead.
talking $1,700. We can get them all hooked up.
Correct.
So hold on a second. So I think there's two things. So the actual cost of the meter, for us to go buy a meter, we have an inventory of them.
Right.
$235. But then we have additional fees that we charge businesses and commercial and
hook
residential
up.
for. Yes.
Okay.
For hookup. And so, one, would need two different things here. We would need a council approval, and I'm gonna have to work with Emily over between this now and the next council meeting, based on the direction here, to say, okay, what do we need to do? But one would be, waive the fees. Two, with the $235, we can find somebody to write a check for $235 because we're not gifting funds. I mean, so,
I was just trying to recall, I know different circumstance, but we did make exceptions for nonprofits when it came to the like Lilac Gardens
Yeah.
for those fees.
So
as well.
that's for-
it's not that we haven't done this before.
Yeah, that's so they can put, basically in the wintertime, they can put those on hold and not pay base charges.
But those were just fees that there was no
Correct.
cost to the city for those. So
Right.
what we're really talking about is, well, what is the actual dollars out from the city?
and see,
what's
and the thing
fees?
about what we did with the Lilac here is that's open up to, commercial here, and this is a one-time, you see what I'm saying? That's why, before we get ourselves,
Yep.
Aaron knows what I'm picking up. I need to work with Emily to make sure that we're all squared away, and the gifting of the $235.
And what about, could it be the same as the Lilac Gardens in the wintertime when they don't use it? When they shut
Yeah,
it?
see the thing with the water, we're only gonna use it, say, 4 months out of the year.
Well, they can do,
The same deal that they did with the.
Right, water, but they're not gonna have sewer there, so that's why,
Right, all we need water line is because we wanna have hamburgers, we want the penalties to come down. It's growing, and the word's out, and it's getting more popular again, like when I was a kid, and I wanna get back to the same place.
I would say check with Emily and see what we can do, and then we'll take it from there.
Perfect. Thank you guys so much for your time, appreciate you.
Thank you, appreciate you.
thank you. Any questions or comments from the audience while we're on this subject? All right. Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you, guys.
Have a great night. I don't have anything else on items not on the agenda. Anyone in the audience or online have anything to discuss with council for items not on the agenda? Okay,
Make a motion to approve the agenda with the addition of adding a public hearing.
Second.
so I have a motion to approve the agenda as is with a amendment to add a public hearing, and that public hearing, I am
For
assuming.
building and planning,
Building and planning on the comp plan.
yes.
And I have a second here from Mr. Burke. Any comments, objections before we take a vote? Ms. Hogan?
Councilmember Rounds,
Aye.
Councilmember Burke,
Aye.
Councilmember Dowdy,
Sorry, I forgot to unmute her, my bad.
Aye.
Councilmember Hall,
Aye.
Councilmember Houston,
Aye.
Councilmember Friend.
Aye.
Okay, so we will move into workshop after our action items tonight.
So it's public hearing, so it would occur on
Oh.
the agenda now.
Correct. Was thinking it was a workshop, but it's a public hearing. My apologies.
So it'd be item M added to the minutes this
Correct.
evening.
So we will go into our public hearing right now at 7:29 on ordinance number 1576, 2025 comprehensive plan. Public hearing. So Travis, do you want to kick this off, and then we will have discussion?
Sure. My name is Travis Goddard, Community Development Director for the City of Woodland. I'd like to point out that the comprehensive plan is on the city's webpage, where it has been for better part of a year. The page has been up and running actually for almost 2 years, and the draft is now available. It is also attached to the agenda tonight. It went to the Planning Commission at the last meeting, and the Planning Commission made a recommendation, and those recommendation with some minor changes has been incorporated into the product that is available on the website. And so I encourage anyone to take a look at that. We are in the SEPA, the environmental checklist comment period, and that will actually be extended through the end of October. So So I will be sending additional notice out to the agencies if they want to comment. You have on your desk today a two-page letter from Cowlitz County, and I'm very happy to get that because they, for all the poke the bear letters I've sent them, they finally sent one to me. And so you see the email that I responded to them, and they have a couple concerns. One is that we picked the growth population that could be accommodated within our existing urban growth boundary and city limits based upon our available land supply. And they believe that we should be planning for additional houses. And I pointed out to them that we are consistent with their current comprehensive plan. And when they update their comprehensive plan next year, it'll be upon us, it'll be our responsibility to come into compliance with their comprehensive plan. But I've been seeing this slow motion car crash for several years, and the council should be aware that we are on a different timeline than they are. And unfortunately, given the constraints that we have to meet for Department of Commerce, we can't consider that additional population growth.
So
And then,
Travis, just to be clear.
Yep.
So our growth that we have projected now aligns with their comprehensive plan that is implemented and goes until 2026. So then in 2026, they would update their comprehensive plan. We update ours every 2 years. So when we do our next comprehensive plan, we would need to look at the growth numbers and understand what they are. This goes back to, do we have 700 homes? Do we have 10,000 homes? Do we want to use 1% growth? Do we want to use 5% growth? And where the county and the larger cities in the county, which is Longview, Kelso, trying to put that growth and those housing, thinking that Woodland is going to be it. So the recommendation that Travis and I have been having is, okay, why are we going to go put all of that into our comprehensive plan, all of that growth, when we aren't required to, and it's not something we project because, one, again, like we've talked about, we don't have the land, we don't have the acreage around here to go build all that. So continue on, Travis.
thank you. Yeah, and I would like to point out that our responsibility is to come into compliance with the Growth Management Act, and the fact that next year they are going to kind of move the goalposts on us. My goal is to get us over the goal line and into the end zone before the goalposts move. So unfortunately, I appreciate their comments, but unfortunately the timing is just not right. So, but I encourage you to take a look at the letter. That letter, comment letter, and my response will be on the website tomorrow.
So, public hearing and discussion here is around, are we okay with our continued path of the direction that we're going and the direction we've been having as we talk about our comprehensive plan?
I would say absolute yes.
Agreed.
Yeah. Okay. Any comments from the community, any concerns on that? Go ahead, sir.
The only thing that I was going to bring up, and I think we talked about this the last time we were talking about comp plan, is that there's this goal of how many homes or opportunities for homes that we need to have available, and that our city limits just doesn't support that. So what is the strategy from your perspective when we get the new goalpost that we simply don't have land to accommodate?
So we have a challenge because there are development regulations that are required to be changed by state RCWs, the state regulations. And our code is not compliant with that, but we have 6 months from when we adopt our comprehensive plan. So the next thing that I will be moving on to, discussing with the Planning Commission, is how to get into compliance with those state laws. And a lot of the laws are going to require us to increase our densities, which means that we will be able to accommodate additional growth within the city. And the question is, how do we do that and maintain the character, which is one of the main goals of the Growth Management Act. Unfortunately, accommodating growth is also one of the goals of the Growth Management Act. So, but ultimately the county is going to give us a housing allotment, and they are going to have a conversation with us about expanding our urban growth boundary and where and how big. And that's part of the conversation that they need to have before we have the conversation with them.
So I'm assuming a lot of that is reduction in lot size, and then we talked about ADUs as well as an avenue.
Yes, increased densities, whether that's accessory dwelling units, eliminating some of the hurdles for that, streamlining the processes to reduce costs for getting permits and building, and increasing densities are all options that are open to us.
So when is the urban growth going to be the next time they're changing that?
So Cowlitz County made a point of pointing out in 2019 that we cannot expand our urban growth boundary unless it's consistent with their plan.
Okay, that was my question.
And their plan is going to be updated next year. And so they need to essentially do the calculations for how much they're going to allot us and then how much land we think we're going to need. That's going to be a negotiation between us and them as part of that conversation.
So are you rather go up Green Mountain or up Lewis River? What was the preferred?
So actually, I believe that the most viable option is for us to head south of Horseshoe Lake because of the infrastructure needs that we're going to need, water and sewer. It gives us a separate route to get to the sewer plant, and our water system allows us to loop it in that direction out to the industrial district. So I think capital facility investment would be most efficient in the bottoms south of town.
So we'll just do that when they do theirs. Okay.
Yep. And I would like to point out that no matter how big the urban growth boundary is designated by the county, ultimately applicants will have to apply for annexation, and the city council will always be able to decide whether or not they are in favor of expansion of the city boundaries.
Come on up.
Thank you. Is there then pressure from the county to readjust zoning, either to increase, I don't know, you guys, is there pressure to address zoning to increase density or to transition commercial into more residential, or what does that look like?
So the pressure to increase densities is actually coming from the state legislature, not necessarily from the county. The county is looking at, I believe they're looking at a 1% growth rate, and they've figured out how many additional housing units they're going to need over the next 20 years. And they're trying to come up with a fair allotment for each community. And so they are going to essentially make that determination, and then it'll be up to the council to try and balance expansion and capital investment in water and sewer versus increasing density or trying to absorb that here in town. So right now the county hasn't taken a position, but they are having that conversation as we speak.
And back on your question, Mr. Houston, is about which direction, would you expand? It's one of those things that we've had numerous conversations with, at staff meetings and things. And, you're going to have a lift station, with our water, sewer, going up Green Mountain, going up Lewis River Road. It's tricky. All of those are going to be extremely expensive. Also going down into the bottoms is going to be expensive. So no cheap solution for the city.
Agree. Yeah.
So, come on up.
I just wondered, do you have a printout of the plan that shows industrial, commercial, that is a handout?
Of the map?
Yeah.
I do not have one, but I can bring you one.
Okay, I'd like that.
So you want a map of the city that's overlaid with industrial, commercials,
Yes.
and commercial.
Interested.
Yep.
Yep.
And where the residential is.
So just for the record, there are no formal changes to any zoning designations as part of this comp plan update.
So you didn't increase any
Nope.
industrial?
No changes at all.
In the last 2 years, the only zoning we have changed is the zoning for Woodland Shores. That is the only zoning that has taken place inside the city limits. So, okay. Any other questions or comments regarding this? I think we have the direction and no change there. I mean, it was good to hear from our friends of the county on that. The time is now 7:40 and we will go back to what was on the agenda. Reports of city council. Anyone?
No, I've been in and out of town a lot, so I don't have much to report.
Melissa, did you have something?
I would just like to say it was really nice recognizing Officer Canetta as the new SRO at the football game Friday night. I think it was well received by everyone there.
I will echo that. So I think Chief did a great job pulling out the WWE impersonation there. It was wonderful. I would just like to say, so I walked in with Officer Canetta into the game. It was very surprising to me, being that he's only been there a week and things, how many of the students came running up to him to say hello, high five, can I have a sticker? This is my little sister. This is my, it was really, and I commented to Chief about that as we were standing there waiting for things to happen, that I think, you know, Roberto, Officer Canetta, he's done a great job embedding himself there in a couple weeks, and I see a couple people nodding their heads. So if you see him around, tell him great job. I think he's doing wonderful. So thank you, Melissa, on that. Anything else from?
Oh yeah, I'll say something. All right, I just wanted to say our middle school golf team, we had a huge turnout this year. We're just finishing up, this is last week, but we had 20 kids on the middle school golf team, boys, this fall. So that was almost triple what we had last year. So our golf program is going in the right direction.
Yeah, definitely. So, okay. Anything else? All right. Reports of standing committees. Public Works.
Public Works met this evening. Councilmember Rounds and myself and Director Riley. And I don't need to tell you all how busy Public Works is now. We have about 3 pages of this. I'll make this quick. A lot of good things happening. The old water plant has been taken down and is now a green belt, I guess you'd call it. So that's great. And the water loss that we were experiencing from that old plant is now been pretty much mitigated. It's pretty much even on what's coming in and what's going out. I'm just verifying that. I think that's true.
Yeah, we can compare production records to our overall water sold and distributed to the community. And we can calculate that water loss. And prior to that, we were estimating the old concrete reservoir was leaking about 25 gallons per minute. It was substantially more than that based on production records. So we're thankfully have eliminated that leak to that reservoir. So we're happy to have the new reservoir online and where the plant status is heading into next summer. So we're in a really good spot.
So the supply on water is good. That's a good step in the right direction. The sewer lines, the mixed flush valves have been installed at Station 3, and we're on track, I think, to put the one in 4. It's in process, right? Into 4.
Yes, that's correct.
So that really helps us with the grease mitigation that gets in the lines, because it reverses the water flow before it pumps, and then it goes out through the sewer system instead of having to haul it. You know, if they have to dig out the grease, then you have to haul it. So that's more expensive. Good step. Streets are going to be swept the end of this month and the first of next, so you'll be seeing some notices on that. And our old library is nearly ready now as a community center that people can use it. And it's going to get a new name. They're going to call it the Old Schoolhouse, which it was before it was a library. So that's kind of a cool thing from the historical standpoint. As far as grants are concerned, the gun club project is underway. The actual concrete work mostly will be done in November to mid-January. The overlay of the pavement will not happen till spring or summer when it's better weather. So that's on track. What else do we got? Oh, we have a application into the TIB for paving Davidson, and that is looking good. We got some direction on that, and there should be a decision in late February on that, so that's positive. And will look really nice. And I think, oh, you already talked about Make a Difference Day, so anybody that does have something, a project for Make a Difference Day, we need to hear it at Public Works, so let us know there. So, and that's it.
Any questions on Public Works? Report out. Council? Community? Okay. Reports of city officers, just a couple things to point out. I know several people are here for other things, so we'll get to those. I want to point out trick-or-treating down on Davidson and the businesses is October 31st. It's going to be from 1 to 3 this year. The students get out of school early that day. Yes. So, and then there's a high school football game, so it's been shifted a little bit earlier rather than later. And you know what? I just misspoke. It's not 1 to 3. I believe it's 2 to 4. Thank you. As I'm sitting there, I'm like, no, it's 2 to 4. So that is there. Make a Difference Day is happening. The other piece is we're still working with Waste Connections to get the garbage contract there. We had a couple revisions to the contract that we've done. We've sent it back to them, so I don't want people to think that we've forgotten about that. That is being worked on, so we'll be bringing it forward. And then also in the agenda tonight is the annual report for 2024. So as I've discussed, and we're doing our annual audit that's required every year by the state, this financial report is what they base all their audits off of, their questions. Then it comes back to our department, our front office, the clerk and the treasurer. And so that report is out there. It's roughly 50 pages. Encourage everybody to read it, and it's out there. All right. That's what I have. Upcoming events, City Council, and then Make a Difference Day. Anything, questions or comments for me? Okay. Moving into consent items.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Action item C.
Second.
Consent item C, excuse
Yes.
me.
I have a motion for consent item C, approve the minutes. I have a first from Ms. Rounds and a second, I believe it was from Mr. Houston.
Yeah.
Ms. Hogan?
Councilmember Rounds,
Aye.
Councilmember Burke,
Aye.
Councilmember Hall,
Aye.
Councilmember Houston,
Aye.
Councilmember Friend,
Aye.
Councilmember Dowdy.
Fire away, Melissa.
Aye.
She forgot she's home.
The ayes have it. Moving into action items. Action item D, approve vouchers.
Make a motion to approve action item D.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Any questions from anyone on council or anyone in the audience about any of the vouchers and payments that are out there for this month? With that, Ms. Hogan?
Councilmember Friend,
Aye.
Councilmember Houston,
Aye.
Councilmember Hall,
Aye.
Councilmember Dowdy,
Aye.
Councilmember Burke,
Aye.
Councilmember Rounds.
Aye.
Moving into action item E, ordinance number 1577, amending Woodland Municipal Code 5.04.022, exemption threshold for business licenses. first and final reading.
Make a motion to approve action item E.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Any questions or comments? What this is doing is this is aligning us with the state of Washington on the threshold of how much your revenue has to be to require you to have an endorsement of a license. So they still have a business license, but it's that endorsement that says it's within the city of Woodland that they can sell. And it just raises the threshold.
Yes.
So
Double.
that's what we're doing. Yep. Any comments or questions? I have a first and a second. Ms. Hogan?
Councilmember Houston,
Aye.
Councilmember Hall,
Aye.
Councilmember Friend,
Aye.
Councilmember Dowdy,
Aye.
Councilmember Rounds,
Aye.
Councilmember Burke.
Aye.
Moving into action item F, ordinance number 1578, update Woodland Municipal Code 7.04.070, insurance requirements on dangerous dogs, first reading.
Make a motion to approve action item F.
Second.
So questions or comments from council or the community? A little background on this here. I think we heard Chief talk about the dangerous dog issue. There were actually 2 dangerous dogs. And so when those dogs are deemed dangerous, they come back into the community, they're required to have insurance on them. Currently, our city ordinance requires them to have $50,000 of insurance. This is getting in line with the state requirement of $250,000. So that individual who owns those 2 pit bulls will be required to have $250,000 of insurance.
So, understanding this incident, they're deemed dangerous dogs. How are we determining that's a dangerous dog, and who makes that decision?
I'm going to throw that question over to Chief.
Do you remember the part where I said we're making it up as we go along? So, there's a whole bunch of things in place right now that we're still trying to work through, because they requested a hearing, and so we're not quite sure. I have to get a hold of our PA's office to see what exactly, like, who oversees this. Does it have to go through district court? But essentially, as the way it's written, the dangerous dogs are a risk to our citizens, and that dog attacking other dogs and people, or both those dogs like they did recently, would qualify per the writing of our RCW. And again, like Mayor Dinard said, this revised code of Washington states that's to be a $250,000 insurance, but our municipal code has only said 50, so we're just trying to get in line with the Washington's code.
So it's not a breed thing, it's that dog's shown.
Has nothing to do with the breed, exactly. Yeah, it could be, I mean, it could be a Chihuahua. Those are pretty dangerous.
Hey,
And then would it be the
hey, Emily.
life of the dog?
Hey, Emily.
Yeah.
Do you want to add a little bit of color to that from the legal perspective of what is considered a dangerous dog and how it gets designated a dangerous dog? And then I think
So there's a very specific RCW 1608-070 that defines both potentially dangerous dog and dangerous dog. And it has to do with where the dog is located and the type of injury that they inflict. So if a dog is kind of running down the street, not on a leash or under the control of their owner, and they cause injury or threaten the safety of humans or domestic animals, and then that's a potentially dangerous dog. And then a dangerous dog would be without provocation, either on public or private property, kills a domestic animal without provocation off of the owner's property, has been previously found to be potentially dangerous, or has inflicted a severe injury. And generally severe injury has to do with it. The RCW defines it as broken bones, disfiguring lacerations, requiring multiple sutures or cosmetic surgery. So there's a fairly specific RCW as to whether or not it qualifies as potentially dangerous or dangerous. A dog usually is qualified as potentially dangerous first, unless they go straight to the dangerous dog, where they've killed another animal or severely wounded a person. If they're a potentially dangerous dog and then they bite or do something else again, then they're usually declared a dangerous dog at that point.
Could they have the dog reevaluated down the road to determine whether or not it's, is it the life of the dog they have to pay it, or could they have it re-looked at?
Did you hear that, Emily? What's the length of designation for a dog?
So it's going to be for the life of the dog. It doesn't mean that they well, one, you can't place breed specific restrictions on in a city, so we can't, just ban pit bulls or just ban German shepherds or anything like that. You can only do it within the definition. I have never seen someone try to attempt to rehabilitate a dog. Usually, they've been sent, to properties where they can run, for acres and acres. I think that there is a process. I've never seen anyone had anyone request go through the process, and I don't think it qualifies for dangerous dogs. Only if it's a potentially dangerous dog could you ask for it to go through the rehabilitative process in the first place.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions from the community or council on this? Ms. Hogan.
Councilmember Rounds.
Aye.
Councilmember Friend.
Aye.
Councilmember Burke.
Aye.
Councilmember Houston.
Aye.
Councilmember Hall.
Aye.
Councilmember Dowdy.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Moving into action item G, authorize the mayor to enter an agreement with Granite Construction for the voluntary mitigation of impacts.
Make a motion to approve action item G.
Second.
So I have a first and a second on this, a little bit of conversation. So at the last council meeting, might have been 2 council meetings ago, we talked about Granite Construction was looking to build an asphalt plant, and a gentleman actually was here, and we talked about them being good partners. They're outside the city limits, so we really have no say in their zoning, their permits, any of that. It is all county. The county will take care of all that. If you look at their trip permit that they would have if they were inside the city limits, it would be about $140,000 of impact fees that they would pay, because they would be coming through exit 22 there. Again, we have no impact fees for items and businesses, residents outside the city limits. That being said, Travis wrote a letter and said, hey, we at the city don't 100% understand where we're coming from on this. We want to have a dialogue and conversation, not against it, not for it. So Granite Construction met out with us, had conversations, and they have offered to give us $10,000 cash per year for 5 years. And then additionally, when we go to get grants and do paving down at the Horseshoe to redo the parking lot and the road through there and do safety measures with the lights, they will give us the asphalt for that. So again, we put the whole value of this around $75,000 to $80,000. It's not the 140. Again, we're not here to take a bribe. We're not here to hold them hostage. This is, hey, this is going to impact our community. We want to bring high-paying jobs to our community. We want to be a steward with you, and they said we would like to be a partner with you as well. This isn't technically something that we have to have on here, but it was something to be transparent. We wanted the community to know, hey, these are the conversations and what we did. Worked with Emily to draft up a agreement with them so that it was in stone where we would get our, $10,000 per year and the asphalt. So that's where this is coming from. Any questions or comments about Granite Construction?
Not just Granite, but I think we should do the same thing with any other large companies using the bottoms and using that exit coming through. I mean, there's a lot of heavy traffic down there.
Yeah, which we do. We always are an intervener in their permitting process with the county on those. So, agreed. Any other?
Was that supplying the asphalt or actually the labor to lay it down as well?
So it's to supply. So what we would need to do is we would go out for bid. Hopefully we will get some grants to do that. And they may be the bidder on that, but it will be there. And there's a benefit here with them being the supplier of that asphalt, because when you do a grant, so when you go out to grants, we're required to have a city match on that. Sometimes it's 10%, it can be up to 25, 30%. We can use this asphalt, if it's, let's just say it's $20,000, we can use that as our match, as a city contribution towards that. So it's a win-win. One, we're getting the asphalt for free, and also we're using it as our matching dollars. So, okay. Any other comments or questions? All right, Ms. Hogan, I have a first and a second.
Councilmember Burke.
Aye.
Councilmember Hall.
Aye.
Councilmember Friend.
Aye.
Councilmember Houston,
Aye.
Councilmember Dowdy,
Aye.
Councilmember Rounds.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Moving into action item H, authorize the mayor to sign an agreement with Hilda Klager Lilac Gardens to receive $10,000 in lodging tax funds.
Make a motion to approve action item H.
Second.
So I have a first and a second. Any conversation from council or the community about the LTAC? There's a couple things I would like to throw out there with this. And this is in general for all of the LTAC pieces that are coming forward. Each one of these are signing a grant the dollars to those organizations, so that's why they're each action items. So as part of this, each of these organizations, one applied with a application, and two, as part of this, will be filling out and signing a contract with us. As part of that contract, it talks about what the expenses can be used for, what they can't be used for, and it talks about that these costs or these expenses, these dollars here, are reimbursement. You're required to provide us the receipts. The city knows where the dollars are going. We're going to the DWR, we're going to the chamber, we're going to Lilac Garden. But how those dollars are being spent, that is why we ask for receipts. It's no different than any other business. They want to have receipts. We would like to have those receipts as well. And that is in the contract and has been there for 20 plus years. It's one of those things with me, we're getting in the guardrails and following the contracts. So I just want everyone to be aware of those couple things that are out there.
No.
The applications out there as far as what each of those are doing. And so for the Lilac Gardens, I have a first and a second. Any conversations or questions from the community? I have a comment from Mary Ripp that says, the Lilac Garden thanks to the LTAC committee and city council for supporting tourism for the Lilac Gardens.
I had, before they used to present to the council on what they plan on doing, so we know what's happening before we allow the money to be spent.
So let's take a
It used to be to the council.
So let's take a step back. So we have the LTAC committee. That's
We had that before.
So the LTAC committee makes a recommendation. That recommendation then comes to council. Council can say yay or nay and send it back to the committee. I certainly am not opposed to this. I mean, I will take that as an action item for next year. I mean, I will push this on to you here as council members. We knew when that LTAC committee or meeting was. Ms. Rounds hosted the meeting, and I remember sitting there as my lone elected official in there, and it was online as well, so there was an opportunity to see them all present. So, point well taken though, sir.
Okay.
So just kind of curious, is the plan to discuss each proposal
one,
separately? Just trying to gauge like how much was requested and how much is being given, and what the thought process was on how each amount was awarded.
So, and Ms. Rounds, you're more than welcome to chime in here and have the dialogue. So there was a request. Don't have my spreadsheet. I was not expecting that question to come through. Of total, what was the total request?
Well, Lilac Gardens wanted 10.
Okay.
Chamber 150.
Oh, and the chamber wanted.
Chamber wanted 50.
And DWR wanted 50.
50. And
Planters Day wanted
5,000. Yep.
So that there was $115,000.
Right.
We typically have been around 60 to 65,000. If you look at our last report, you can see that we had $65,000 versus $82,000 that it was received last year. Our receipts this year in 2025 are somewhat lower than what we had in 2024 at this
So
time.
can we still kick it back if we want to change the dollar amounts?
So each one of these is an individual contract here. So if you are all unhappy with one, you can send them all back. If you are unhappy with all 4 of them, you can send them all back. But again, council is approving a contract with each organization, so that's why they are all separate. So if you look at these in totality, the Lilac Gardens is 10,000. They asked for 10,000. Planters Days is 5,000. They asked for 5,000. Downtown Woodland Revitalization asked for 50. They're at 10,000. The chamber asked for 50. They're at 40,000. So in total, when you look at all that, it's $65,000 that was recommended from the LTAC committee. You look like you had something else to say, Gabe.
Oh, no, I just wondered why it was split so not more evenly between the revitalization and the chamber.
That's this way that it's heads and beds, and that's what the committee came up with.
Okay.
So,
And I apologize. I keep saying the chamber is actually the Woodland Visitor Center. My apologies. If you look at how their application came, so I apologize on that piece there. Any other questions from the community on this item here? There's 4 coming forward.
And we
So-
do individual, I'm sorry, we can kick individual back
You
or
can
all
kick
of them back?
individual
Okay.
ones back, or you can kick them all back.
Okay.
I mean, again, you're here to approve.
Yeah.
Ms. Rounds, go ahead.
so if you don't pick one and you decide to take all the rest of them, does the LTAC committee have to reconvene again for that
Yes.
one?
Yes.
Okay.
And so, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that the committee, just so everybody kind of understands how that works, that committee is made up of people who represent the hotel, motel people.
Yeah.
And these recommendations were their collective group decision. So really, they've had those discussions, and these numbers are what they wanted.
Yeah.
So I think we should
Yeah.
recognize that. As
Yeah, so we have Mr. Round, somebody who leads this committee from council. We had an individual from Woodland Shores from the RV part. We have an individual who is on the Lilac. We have an individual who owns the Oyo Hotel. And then we have an individual, Mr. Knight.
Yeah, where's he?
I'm not sure what he does.
I think he's a community member. So that's the individuals that are there. So any questions, conversation from the community?
Are we talking about just on that one action item at this time?
Correct, on the Lilac Gardens.
Really?
I have a first and a second here. The first was from Ms. Rounds, and the second was
That's me.
from Mr. Burke. And this is authorize a $10,000 lodging tax funds to the Lilac Gardens. Ms. Hogan.
Councilmember Rounds,
Aye.
Councilmember Burke,
Aye.
Councilmember Dowdy,
Aye.
Councilmember Hall,
Aye.
Councilmember Houston,
Aye.
Councilmember Friend.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Moving into action item I, authorize the mayor to sign an agreement with Woodland Planters Day Celebration Committee to receive $5,000 in lodging tax funds.
Make a
Motion to approve.
Action item I.
Second.
So I have a first from Ms. Rounds and a second from Mr. Houston. Any comments or questions around this $5,000?
Planners Day brings in a lot of people. They
Absolutely.
deserve every bit of it.
Okay. Anyone from the community? Online? Ms. Hogan.
Councilmember Friend,
Aye.
Councilmember Houston,
Aye.
Councilmember Hall,
Aye.
Councilmember Dowdy,
Aye.
Councilmember Burke,
Aye.
Councilmember Rounds.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Moving into action item J, authorize the mayor to sign an agreement with Downtown Woodland Revitalization to receive $10,000 in lodging tax funds.
Motion to resend to the LTAC committee for further review.
Second.
So I have a first and a second to send that back to the LTAC committee for reconsideration. So that's on the table right now. We'll be taking a vote on that. Any conversation from anyone in the community or online or up here that wants to talk about sending it back for reconsideration?
I would like to talk.
The floor is yours, Ms. Dowdy.
Okay. In watching the entire LTAC committee, I don't feel that they were given a fair shot at what they were requested. Originally, the LTAC committee only wanted to give them the 5,000 and not even give them 10. And I feel that they are providing way more activities and events to our community than what the visitor center does. And I think they need to review both of those amounts to have a better equal amount, or even give them more than the visitor center at this time for all that they have planned for our community. Heads and Beds benefits more with them than it does the visitor center at this time.
And what events are Heads and Beds?
I think anything bringing people to our community that is not just a stop and move to outside of our community. And I feel like the visitor center alone does not provide any events. They just are there to service a lot of people that actually are driving out of town and just stop there for permits and information on things that are upriver that are not actually in our town.
So that's not Heads and Beds, the events needs to be at least 50 miles away for it to be considered an event where someone's going to stay the night in the hotel. So
right, absolutely. I think we have several events, and they are planning to do even more events to draw from not only locally but to get others to come in. Our winter event, our movie nights, and events in the park, getting vendors and all of that coming in, wanting to stay overnight.
The vendors or the people?
Both. It's still Heads and Beds.
Miss Simpson, you had a, come on up, Donica.
I know, right? Good evening, everyone. Oh my goodness. There's so much to say, but it's really important that we, well, first of all, I'm Donica Simpson, and I am here representing DWR, Downtown Woodland Revitalization. I am their president, and I've been a citizen of Woodland for over 30 years. We are a very positive, upbeat group, and we're being considered for our $10,000, which would be for the LTAC funds of 2026. And we do appreciate that that is more than we got last year. But I want to clarify that our original asking of $50,000 was in no way trying to take funds away from Chamber, Visitor Center. That's kind of a confusing thing here. I kind of hear both all the time. Or any other nonprofits, okay? So the last thing we want to do is come and start moving forward and then split our community. That is the absolute last thing this community needs, this country or any other community. So our whole goal is to not only bring our community together and build on that, but then to reach out and bring more people in. And we do that by having a really high energy, fun presence where we're drawing in all types of folks wanting to be part of the things we're putting on. We work closely with other nonprofits at our events, and Woodland needs all of us in order to have a healthy, thriving community. And we really feel funds need to be coming directly back into Woodland, okay? Our community has reached out to us through emails, signing up as volunteers. We just had our meet and greet. We had a fantastic turnout. Our community is speaking directly with us as we go out and talk to our local companies. They want to see active improvements in promoting Woodland with all that it has to offer. And the visitors walking in their doors, okay? They need people actually coming in their doors. We brought over 1,000 people in this last summer by doing our Hot Summer Nights and Movies in the Park series. Now, we're only 2 years in. My team has only just begun. I understand heads in beds, but we had to get started somewhere. And to be able to be that successful and bring so much joy and draw people away from the county fair because we were offering so many fun, free activities, and we are enjoying the beautiful parks, you know, this is something we have to build on. It's not overnight. And we had $5,000, okay? We did all of that with $5,000, plus some amazing sponsors. Thank God for them, because it is not cheap to put these events on. It was over $12,000 in sponsorship funds that made it happen. That $5,000, you got every receipt turned in, and it was to do nothing but promote Woodland, okay? We have beautiful banners. We were able to have money to actually advertise on the newspapers. Our social media presence is huge. Our goal is to expand on that Hot Summer Nights over a weekend period of time, okay? So we could start bringing in car shows where those folks would have to stay overnight. Hopefully they would choose our hotels. But certainly they're going to be in our restaurants. Certainly they're going to get fuel here. Certainly they're going to be traveling here. So we can't control every avenue, but we're certainly going to keep building on these things. We're going to make sure our families are having a great time, and we're going to make sure that if they have family from out of town, they bring them in during this time, because they're going to know there's a great thing happening here. Our Winterfest had over 500 people last year, and that was just a small little timeline that we had. This year we're planning on expanding our hours. So we're going to have events going on throughout the day, not just at the night. And we're working with Hulda Klager to make sure we're promoting their event too, because that beautiful house is going to be part of it. So we're going to have people coming all the way through the town, right? Traveling through and being able to enjoy all the different events. Again, we are just getting started. We also work with the Moose Lodge. And again, we're going to be working on getting sponsorships for that event as well. Our team has put together some excellent sponsorship packets and membership packets so our local businesses and citizens can participate, giving back to Woodland. We have an amazing community. They want to give back. They want to be part of this. They want to be part of something positive. They want to know they can make a difference. Our team is made up of some very talented professionals that are willing to give us their experience and abilities to bring Woodland to life and to start having some fun. We have a graphic designer. She creates our flyers, banners, A-frames, and our merchandise. We have all kinds of merchandise she's created. People are excited about celebrating Woodland. We have a marketing specialist that worked for downtown Portland. She's gotten sponsors and created events far larger than we could ever imagine. We have a financial advisor. He specializes in investments and advising people how to make the most of their funds and goals. I'm glad he's on our team. We're going to make it work, all of it. We're going to put every penny back into Woodland. We have an accountant. She's so organized. She also has experience helping fill out grants, so we're thrilled to have her as well. We have a business owner that's been in business successfully for over 20 years here locally. We are thrilled to bring this team together and put all of this energy back into Woodland. And this is free, okay? 50 grand wouldn't have paid any one of these people for their services. And we have people willing to step up and give it to us. We need the funds to make this successful. This is something we don't get every day. DWR is planning to revise our website so that we can promote our local companies and nonprofits. With the increase we continue to see, they will profit from the exposure. We had over a 300% increase on hits on our website over those 3 summer months, June, July, and August. Because of that, we now have traffic from all over the world hitting our website. I mean, we can't make this stuff up. We have the records. It's proof. So we're going to enhance it. We're going to make it even better because we want everybody to succeed. This isn't about just DWR. This is about the entire community. So why would we not make sure we utilize all of these resources and help one another? This is not about splitting or pitting people against each other. That's why we asked for $50,000. We want Woodland to see firsthand what can be done if the money is put to use right here. Everything we received last year was directly put into advertising, and we saw immediate results. So we know it's working. Our community wants us in the Civic Center. They came and told us that while we were holding our meet and greet. They want us there, where they can come in and be a part of all the activities we have planned. It's my understanding that Chamber, because as far as I know it is Chamber, is unwilling to rent the Civic Center because they currently pay $1 for rent in the location they're in. That's fine. That's not putting Woodland first. We think that's very unfortunate because Woodland deserves to be proud of how we represent ourselves. The community should not be held back by past dealings that are no longer applicable. The people with the handshake deal are no longer here. The rent on the Civic Center is $1,000 per month. That money would stay in Woodland. That beautiful building would not be empty. We have quickly become established through our social media presence. That's only been in place for 2 years. We already have over 360 followers. Our tourism center doesn't even have one. If you try searching for them, they're not there. I'm not sure what's going on. We respectfully ask that funds granted to them be directly used for marketing. The tourism center, and not just on Chamber. Every time you search tourism center, it goes to the Chamber. The Chamber is a very important group here. We are not against the Chamber. We're not against the tourism center. What we're asking for is the money to be put where it should be. Let's make that tourism center worth something. It's a trailer that needs repairs. It is so not updated. It is so far from using the resources that we all have. We all have the ability to search anything online, and they can't find us. We would respectfully ask that this be sent back and consider splitting the $50,000 in half. Let's help the tourism center figure out how to get it moving forward, but let's not hold us back. Let us use the talents we have. Let us bring something amazing to the Woodland community. No matter what, DWR is going to continue because we want to make a difference in Woodland. Thank you.
Thank you, Donica.
I just wanted to kind of say something on that. I've been here 50 years, and I think I've heard about downtown revitalization pretty much my whole life.
50 years.
And I support it 100%, but I think a lot of people would like to see actual revitalization downtown. The events are fine, the banners are great, everything, but like a facelift down there, make it updated. Just the appearance, I think, is what a lot of people want to see also. Because when I think of downtown revitalization, I think about revitalizing downtown, and it's looked the same.
Just one step at a time.
Yeah, no, I
We're headed
understand.
that way.
I'm just saying people will respond better if they can see actual results.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I got Neil, and then I got Miss Butler. Come on up, sir.
We'll go with the Butlers.
That's right.
I am Neil Butler. I'm the president of the Woodland Chamber. I 100% agree. Ultimately, the beautiful part about Woodland is the impassioned groups that are excited about this. Ultimately, and my comments relate to both of them. I know we're just talking about that part. So the question that ultimately the council is facing has to do with the actual visitor center. So the chamber and the visitor center are not the same entity. I appreciated the clarity on that, Mayor. And with that, part of the question that you guys are being asked is that the LTAC board recommended the continuation of the visitor center with that money, that $40,000 being used to operate the visitor center. And ultimately, that's what you're being asked to adjudicate is, does Woodland need a visitor center? And then who runs it? Right? Those are the crux of the questions, not about impassioned pleas for all sorts of things or statistics or all that. Like, those are important, but ultimately you're being asked to decide what that looks like. And the recommendation from the LTAC board was that the Chamber of Commerce continue to operate. First, that the LTAC board recommends the continuation of a visitor center, and second, that they recommended that the Chamber of Commerce continue to run the operations of that. And so it ultimately comes down to what you guys want to do. Do you send that recommendation back to the LTAC board and ask them to either reassess, do we continue to have a visitor center? And does DWR run that? Does another entity come in and run that? What does that actually look like? The Chamber of Commerce has been a proud partner with this community for close to a little shy of 100 years. And it's a valuable asset to the community. I live in Battleground and got to watch as the chamber failed within Battleground. I now sit on the I don't know what it's called, the events committee for the city. And as a city of 30,000 people, we struggle by not having a chamber. But we also don't have the benefits of having DWR and these other groups that also stand forward. So ultimately, when it comes down to your vote and once you're deciding, the discussion is what do you think should happen with this community in terms of those two questions, and how do you move forward? And we would be honored to continue to fulfill the wishes of the LTAC board. They voted with their mouse and their hand, saying that they would like that the visitor center be continued, and that we continue to run it as a chamber, and we're thankful for that vote of confidence that came from them. But I don't have to go with this. Just
No.
well, ultimately,
it's
floats
all together.
between.
I mean,
Yeah.
we can, yeah.
So that's all I had.
Yeah.
So thank you.
So the only thing I would say here,
Yes.
Neil, and you and I, potato. So when you talk about, not having a chamber in Battleground,
Yes.
again, we talk about visitor center here, and now we're all of a sudden talking about not having a chamber.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying? So that's where some of the confusion still comes.
Yes. Yeah,
as
and
you
so
as
for
president.
us, like, the chamber's not going anywhere. The chamber is not the visitor center. It just has to do with those two fundamental questions of what the city would like to approve in terms of those LTAC funds. And I'm totally in favor of DWR. They're incredible. They do incredible events. Sometimes they're very local, and that's still okay. I'm not sure they fit within LTAC funds, but I do believe that they need increase in additional support to support the work they do in our community.
Okay.
Thank you.
No, thank you, Mr. Butler. Now, Mrs. Butler.
We'll claim her in our family history.
You don't want to know about ours. Yes, Donna Butler. So I attended the LTAC meeting and listened to the different groups give their presentation. And the most impressive by far was the downtown Woodland revitalization. They had energy, they had vision. And what I really liked is they said, we want to promote Woodland without changing Woodland. I really like that. And so I hope that there can be some reconsiderations on that.
Thank you. Any further comments, questions? Come up, Ms. Brown.
Hello, everyone. I'm Katie Brown. I am a volunteer member of the DWR, and I got up and spoke at the LTAC meeting. And Adonica spoke so well and covered most everything. I loved the question on the beatification of downtown. That takes extra funds. So that's a lot of what we're hoping to do, because not only do the events bring people down here, but we want it to look really nice when they get here. That takes funding. We've done a tremendous job with what we've had. $5,000 is not a very big budget to do what we've done. And a huge piece of that is the online marketing and the website. There is so much more to be done to reach far and wide, and it can be done. And with that extra funding, that's what we plan to do. We can reach people throughout the entire Pacific Northwest to draw them here. And the beatification of downtown, we've got huge plans on how to make it look as cool as we can with the vacancies that are there. And we have plans to bring that energy in, try and get more business here. And businesses will only want to start and be anchored in downtown if it's successful and it's got things going on. Right now, businesses are kind of looking, but not wanting to be down there. That's because no one's down there unless we create that energy and bring those people. Winterfest has been huge. We plan to make it even bigger this year, like Adonica said, and we also have drawn in so many community sponsors. So we've had Bell Studios, who is downtown, Waste Management, Taylor Transport, Cowlitz PUD, Fiber Federal, Blue Line Trucking, Build Forum Construction, Molly Thai Restaurant, Hometown Pets Pet Store. Some of these businesses aren't even in downtown, but they see what we're doing and they are excited about it. They want to be part of our signage. We promote these businesses at the events, and so it brings the community together, and it's going to take some extra funding to keep that energy going, and so we would really appreciate your guys' consideration. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
I have one question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Out of the 50,000 that you requested, what were part of those funds going to be used for? Is that to rent the? So you're taking funds from the LTAC to rent a building to run the downtown revitalization?
There is absolutely no reason that we can't use $12,000 to rent that building. We will have to cover the expenses of the utilities, things like that. But to be able to rent the building that is sitting empty, but will promote Woodland and be able to also bring more people downtown, because that's headed that way. That is what we are allowed to do with those funds.
So this came up at the LTAC meeting on whether or not, an entity, whether it's DWR, whether it's the Visitor Center, whether it's Planners Days, Lilac, it doesn't make a difference. This came up and it was a question of whether or not you can use LTAC funds to rent a building from the city, and then the city has those funds to put back in their general fund. So I posed that question to Emily, and I'm unmuting Emily. She has told me that there's no problematic issue with that. Emily, you are unmuted. Fire away.
Sure. So again, there are some specific kind of requirements as to what LTAC funds can be used for. It's not necessarily problematic that it comes back into the city's general fund, so long as it's being used for the advertising for events, and it can be used for operations and capital expenditures for tourism related facilities, and again, that can come back to the city if the city is the one that owns that. And it can be of operation for tourism related facilities owned or operated by nonprofits, but not for capital expenditures. So it really just kind of depends on how exactly they're using it, but the fact that it's being rented from the city does not necessarily prohibit the use of the LTAC funds.
Another part of the dialogue here, I haven't had any direct conversations with you all, so the $1,000 I'm assuming, and I mean I hate to assume because that it makes, is that was a offer, was a proposal that was sent to the chamber. The chamber didn't take the $1,000, so council obviously, if you're wanting $1,000 a month rent in there, that would be a conversation. We would have to bring that contract to council here. So, I mean, that's part there. So,
let's vote. Can you hand her the microphone down there so she doesn't?
We can go back and forth all night.
Darlene.
Darlene.
There you go. Get your notes, mine are sharp.
And I'm not a very good driver.
Do you have insurance for that thing?
No, but people usually get out of my way when I come at them with it. Yeah, well, one thing, I think that downtown revitalization that was actually started a long time ago, and it was to improve downtown. That is not what the LTAC funds are for. And the chamber, the Visitor Center has a track record and maintains, records of people from outside the area. We've had people from Germany and everything. They come and we send them to different events. We don't put on events, but I don't think there's any city around that doesn't have has any ability to attract tourists, which Woodland definitely does, between Mount St. Helens, the river, fishing and everything. And what you have to track them from over, I think it's not 50 miles, I think it's 60 miles away. And we've had people from Germany and all over the world. And the people that, the hotels and motels appreciate that, and they write us thank you notes on that they do get referred to. If someone comes in our door, we push hard to get them into a hotel and motel, which is what is funding this. So the Visitor Center and the Visitor Center feels strong that well, never mind, that's another point. They'd rather stay where they are and do some improvement to where they are, because it's a good place, it's easy to get to, and we get a lot of traffic just on people who are going to park there. And so I really support, and I think legally you're on way safer ground giving it to the visitor center than you do to downtown revitalization, because I like downtown revitalization. I want the downtown to look nice, and that'll make people want to stay here even longer. But that's not what these funds are for. These funds are for putting heads in beds.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Nope.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Junior.
Darlene.
One of the questions I have is,
Who's talking?
you know,
Oh,
I
they
am,
are.
Mr.
JJ,
Yeah. Oh.
is before we used to get $50,000 to run the visitor center because we had 3 employees plus half the director, and you cut down to 1 employee now for what, 2-3 years? Been about that?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm asking her a question, so.
Well, I'm not the
'Cause she's
accountant there
you were treasurer,
anymore,
okay.
so it'd be better.
So hold on a second, JJ.
Okay, so,
So we'll get into the
I was going to, but I.
we'll get into the
ask a
chamber,
question.
or I'm sorry, the
Okay.
visitor center next.
Okay,
Okay. So
okay. Sit down.
Sit down. Okay.
I think we should just vote so we're not going back
any
and
other
forth on that
questions
one.
or comments on
So just to
DW?
clarify, this $40,000 is for if I'm jumping ahead, I apologize, but is that for the visitor center only, or is it for the Chamber of Commerce? 'Cause I'm confused.
For the visitor center.
Okay.
It's the visitor. Hold on, Santa. Let's be clear. It's for the visitor center, and if you look at their expenses that they've listed here, it does. Those expenses, though, do run some of the chamber activities. So but it is called the visitor center. Okay.
No.
Say it loud and proud, my friend.
Well, I can stay here because I can talk loud.
Mhm.
That's not exactly true.
Right.
Because the funds all go for the visitor center, and at the end of the thing, the visitor center, we allocate all the expenses, it runs at a loss, and the chamber puts money in from our golf tournament and stuff like that, and it'll fund the rest of it. And if you want a financial statement, that's easily produced. So it's 100% of the funds are for the visitor center. And then, because there's more expenses than it used to be 50, then the chamber puts the money in to supplement it.
I'm going off of their financial statement here,
Okay.
and the very first line says chamber payroll manager.
Okay.
So that's where I got that, and the funding is $26,000 from LTAC. So that's where I got that, Darlene.
Well, that's the payroll that runs the visitor center.
Which, correct.
Yeah.
So, okay. So, okay.
Guys,
So we're gonna take
that's it.
a vote here, but go ahead.
If it was up to me, I would just think the visitor center is great, but people aren't coming here just to go to the visitor center. I mean, we have with the internet and everything, it's not drawing people, I don't think, here to just let's go to the visitor center. They happen to see it and they drive by and they go in. I think that a lot of the funds could be used better downtown, because they're actually going to bring people and people that are already here downtown. They just, let's just vote, I guess. Let's vote.
So
No, we're not.
we have a motion to send this back to LTAC committee. I have a first from Ms. Dowdy and a second from Mr. Burke. Before we move on to anything else, we have to take a vote on that.
So, because of the way that motion was worded, yes sends it back.
Yes.
Yes sends it back.
Yes.
Ms. Hogan.
Councilmember Friend,
Aye.
Councilmember Houston,
Aye.
Councilmember Hall,
No.
Councilmember Dowdy,
Aye.
Councilmember Burke,
Aye.
Councilmember Rounds.
No.
So with a count of 4-2, and we have one council members out that $10,000 grant funding to, not grant, I'm sorry, funding from LTAC for downtown Woodland revitalization will be sent back for reconsideration to the LTAC committee. We are now moving into action item K, which is authorize the mayor to sign an agreement with Woodland Chamber of Commerce to receive $40,000 in lodge tax funds.
Make a motion.
Motion to rescind to
So I
LTAC.
have a motion from Gabe to send it back.
Second.
And I have a second from Ms. Dowdy. Any conversation from council or anyone online or in the community? Mr. Butler, no relation to Mrs. Butler.
We'll find it out soon enough. Just to clarify on that part, the operation of the visitor center is substantially more than $40,000. So the chamber does utilize their funds to be able to operate that facility as well. So just to clarify for Mr. Burke.
Yeah, and it's in here, and there's
Yes.
a statement that here, it shows $88,000 is what their expenses here. They get 50,000 from LTAC, and then 38,000 would be other funding for a balanced budget of $88,000.
Yes, and in
But they also
terms
get from
of
other cities.
in terms of the difference between before and now is that there are economic forces in our state that change things in terms of minimum wage and taxes and all that other stuff. So we have been working with the school district to supplement those changes for operations by adding in additional volunteers and people who can fill in those gaps to be able to extend the hours to almost, I think it's a third more in run, a 7-day operation.
Okay, so you say you got expenditures for 30,000? But you also get other cities that give funds also.
Yes, those are
Clark County,
different
Cowlitz
LTAC
County.
funds. Yep, Clark County and Cowlitz
And
County we
your
receive
place.
LTAC funds from.
So according to this statement, which is here, $50,000 from the city, $15,000 from Cowlitz, 5,000 from Clark, private industry is 5,250, general sales is 590, and the Woodland Chamber of Commerce, like Darlene was saying, was 13,123 for a balanced budget of 88,963.
Yes.
Mr. Friend.
Kind of the proposal was 40,000. What's your strategy to operate at 88,000 with 40,000 coming? Because obviously that's a decrease of 10,000 from what you were hoping for.
Yes. So there's, we are responsible with taxpayer money. We were allotted 50,000 this last year, and I think.
That's not taxpayer money.
I think.
You got 60, I believe.
No.
No.
Last
no.
year
We.
they got 50.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah. The LTAC funds are taxpayer money. They're restricted taxpayer money. So is part of it is controlling payroll, is controlling printing costs, and all of these other. It's outlined in the packet. And I can't think of all of the things.
So
but
the strategy is reduction in costs, not finding other income sources to.
So we actually have expanded out our other sources of income. So we brought in substantially more with our golf tournament that we have in years past. We have run the beer garden. We have several other fundraising activities that are coming up, as well as dues from members that we use to supplement that.
So if you were able to make up the extra 10, if the pool of money were split equally between the two organizations, do you foresee that you'd be able to continue to supplement in other ways, different income streams, reduction in cost?
Realistically, no. Partially because costs don't go down. We're already receiving less than what we were expecting, which has required us to be able to change our operations to be able to bring in additional funding. we'll do whatever the council asks us to do. But reducing it further than that, we were able to, without these additional price increases, take it from 50,000 down to 42. I can't remember we used less than our 50,000 by being responsible with it, and also additional funds that we brought in through other sources. But it's a stretch.
And I'm going to hear that.
Yes.
I guess
I understand. I understand
I
what
just
you're
think
asking.
about two organizations that are trying to do great things for the community, and
Yes.
in any other business scenario, there's concessions that have to be made, right? Like to balance it out, to figure it out, so that both can operate rather than just sliding one direction. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense.
Why couldn't they take the downtown revitalization, put them in the civic center, and have like a welcome to Woodland in the same place where you could come find out about Woodland, buy sweatshirts, buy shirts, buy hats, and utilize that building at the same time, and you have both entities. It wouldn't be necessarily the visitor center, but the similar thing that would be great for everyone.
But are we? The question is whether or not it's an appropriate use of LTAC funds, and ultimately these are restricted funds that are heads and beds. That's why I brought up the part where, when we have the LTAC board, it's made up of these people who are actively collecting and managing these facilities that are holding on to that. And so the question is then, do we want a store kind of like when you go up to Kelso? With their, I don't know what it is, where the golf course used to be, and where they have their visitor center as well as also selling tchotchkes and things like that.
I mean, I hear that, right? So
yeah.
But when I think about heads and beds, so the idea is to create some tourism component that would cause somebody to come to our town and stay in a hotel here, or consume our fuel, or eat it, like
yes.
be here,
Yeah.
right? So all of these pieces that people are coming here for, one could argue that the visitor center is not what drew them here, but the actual feature is what drew them here. So when I think about an event being hosted that would draw people from outside in,
yes.
that resonates with me more than a center to get a Discover Pass or things like that, because ultimately, again, if they're going to Mount St. Helens, the visitor center here might direct them to Mount St. Helens, but it's hard for me to draw that conclusion that they stayed here but went to Mount St. Helens, possibly. And I know that's the encouraging piece, right? We suggest that, hey, we have hotels here that you could stay at as kind of this midway point, but it's really Mount St. Helens that drew the person, or the Ape Caves, or Merwin, or wherever they were headed to is what drew them here. We might have given them guidance along the way, but I don't know, I guess.
So the question is then, is ultimately source of funding. So in this case, November 5th is the deadline for the Cowlitz County Tours and Small Grant Program, which would be it's actually something the DWR is eligible for, and it has a max payout of $50,000 that can go towards the things that they're talking about. That even though they're getting recognition across the internet and whatever else, that ultimately these events, while valuable to the community, oftentimes bring in the local community. And that's what like the Cowlitz Tourism Commission is set up to handle, to be able to support those, and they have actual funds for that, for what they're recommending. In terms of the actual facility, the white building, while that's a different discussion for us, and being able to figure out what makes the most sense financially. Do we take $10,000 less out of our operating budget and then move into a building that costs an additional $12,000 in a lease plus utilities, as opposed to the fact that the chamber is subsidizing Woodland's contribution to LTAC funds to be able to run that visitor center, even though it's coming from Clark and Cowlitz and private funds from the entity.
I was over here using my calculator. So back on your question, and I mean, I'm just trying to give the facts here.
That's fine.
One way or the other. So you talked about there are expenses, and Mr. Butler was talking about, costs are going up. It's a labor and, heavy here. So out of the 88,000, roughly 71,000. So 80% of this is labor cost for them. So, I mean,
Yeah, and it's 15,000 from. I don't know. You have the paper in front of you. I don't have it. Yeah, but it's varying amounts from different entities.
yeah, Callis County
so-
gave you 15,000.
Yeah, and then it's
Clark County
five-
gave you 5, and
yeah.
then private industry was 5,200.
I hear you on the cost of the building, but I guess operationally, I think about what does that say when you have this beautiful empty building that we could be welcoming people to, and we send them to a trailer?
Yeah, so
I mean, that's just a hard thing for me.
yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. I drive to Woodland too. I live in Battleground, and I drive up here, and I see that. And while I want it to be more beautiful, and the continued improvements that we make to the building, the question is about fiscal responsibility with the resources. So having a different conversation about lease agreements and in terms of, if you look at surrounding entities that are running similar types of facilities, so Ridgefield Chamber of Commerce that leases a building from the Port of Ridgefield and things like that. Like there's other opportunities and things like that. The hard part is the city has this building that's empty, and it's trying to figure out what to put in there. It would be nice if it was a visitor center. It would be nice if it had another 4,000 square feet and could be a community center. But so trying to figure out what to do with that building, if that's the best use of LTAC funds, then making that recommendation back to the LTAC committee and saying, hey, we would like 12,000 plus whatever utilities are to be allocated towards the funding of this building, then that would be within the purview of the LTAC committee in terms of their decisions. And that would be, I mean, I don't think it's unrealistic to ask, but ultimately it's also figuring out what's affordable. One of the things that we looked at was what would happen if the city just ran the visitor center. And because of the city's requirements and how they need to fund it, it would cost, ultimately it would cost over, it was like $175,000 for the city to be able to run the visitor center. And so for right now, the city is getting a functioning visitor center for $40,000.
But I don't think if that visitor center wasn't even there, I don't think it would affect the amount of people that are staying in our town, because I don't know if they've ever done any kind of a study to see how many people actually stay here, get the information from the visitor center, or do they just come here and they go to the hotel? I don't think it would be.
Yes, one of the things that we're required to collect is who comes, why they're here, how many people are in the car, and some of the activities that they're interested to be able to go to. And we maintain those records as part of the requirements of running it.
Are you confirming as to whether or not it was a head and bed because of the visitor center, or?
Yes, yeah, we ask them if they stay overnight.
You're asking if they're staying overnight, but you're not necessarily saying that because the visitor center told you about it.
No, and that's ultimately the question that you have before you is, does the visitor center make sense?
I think we're getting a little pointy headed.
Sorry, yeah.
I mean, I don't think there's any way, whether it's the visitor center, whether it's DWR, planners, say how we would determine how many people came from 50 miles plus away and stayed in one of our hotels. One thing I do want to address and make sure people are aware. So this is a additional tax that is thrown onto the cost of hotel rooms here inside the city limits. If you have an Airbnb that is outside the city limits, there's no dollars there that come inside the city. It is only within our, city limits here, and so that is what it's for. And these are designated dollars that have certain, RCW on them that says, hey, this is the funding and this is what can be spent on.
So
yeah.
Did they get LTAC money for people who stay like monthly in hotels? Does that count?
Yeah. So if
whatever is collected by the So and ultimately we go with the recommendation of the LTAC board. They recommended that the city continues the operation of the visitor center, and they recommended that we continue to operate that for the city.
Mayor.
Yes, go ahead, Ms. Dowdy.
So I guess My question is that DWR is saying that they could use that building and even run a welcome center or have things to promote Woodland. We've even had the discussion of maybe getting the schools and all of their CTE classes to where we can promote our museum, all those things that would be great to have at the welcoming entity of our city. However, they're saying they would need 12,000 and they would be providing volunteers and stuff to run this building, whereas you're needing it just to staff a staffer in the building. And I think that's my biggest headache, is that they're still using the money that they're requesting to provide publicizing our city and providing events in our city with very minimal cost to the actual building, where yours is just facilitating a person sitting in the visitor center, not so much promoting our city online through flyers, through events. And I think that's where my hardship is in giving you more than somebody who I think is doing a well-rounded idea of what Heads and Beds is meant to do, and getting even more citizens from outside areas and, you know, Germany or wherever you want to say they're from. I think when you provide events, whether it be runs, whether it be Planners Day, whatever those events are, that's what's drawing people to stay inside the city and not just Mount St. Helens and the lakes and all the other things that we have outside of our city limits. And I think if you're running a visitor center, you should want that same thing by promoting and doing things, not just sitting there waiting for somebody to come in your door.
So, Ms. Dowdy, you're looking for proactive, not reactive.
Right. And I think that's where, when you're both asking for the same amount of money, I have a hard time giving to somebody who's not being proactive, is only being reactive.
I mean, the first Mount St. Helens and Gale and the river and all that stuff are the tourism draws to the community. They are a substantial draw to the community, and to discount them is ignorant.
But you're not doing anything to promote that.
Yeah.
They're just there. I think that's the difference.
Well, yeah. So what you're alluding to is to figure out where you want to spend the money. Does it make sense on a visitor center? And if it doesn't, then does it make sense using the LTAC funds for advertising? And the part of the question, in terms of my clarity, is I'm not sure if DWR wants to take over operation of the visitor center or just utilize the facility as a place where they'll have visitor. Like, is the idea the? Oh yeah, well, I mean that's the question is, are they wanting to run that facility as the visitor center and you would like to have a different operator?
I might be thinking outside the box here a little.
Yeah.
But, and I mean, people have touched on it, and I'm drawing a conclusion here based off of what the conversation was and how they voted on the previous one, so I am drawing a conclusion on this one. Before everybody shows back up at the LTAC committee, my recommendation would be Visitor Center, DWR, sit down, come up with a plan together and say, what looks best here for Woodland? How do we partner? This is what we can bring to the table. This is what we can bring to the table. We have these resources that are available. We know that there's a total of $50,000. What is a plan? What makes Woodland thrive on $50,000 would be my recommendation.
I think that is wonderful.
Any other comments or things before we vote? Oh, go ahead, Keith.
If you don't know me by now, Keith Belisle, Chamber Director. It seems like there's a lot of topics getting mixed up here, and I think we've got to really be able to focus on what the specific question is. But since we have mixed up topics, the first thing I want to say is when the person comes into the visitor center and sits there for half an hour talking about what's going on in Woodland, we don't look at the computer. That's the person that I'm going to say, you know, if we go completely digital, we are going to miss that group of people. And there is a group of people that come in every day that didn't want to get their information off of the computer. They wanted to get it from a person with experience that knows what's going on that day, what roads are open, what roads are closed, what centers are closed now, because we do check every day to make sure. It's really important to us to give people the correct information and up-to-date information. So as far as a physical place and a, virtual place, you can make the argument both ways. I think right now, going one way or the other, there's potential for us to do more as well. And we love to hear about that. We want to be a team. We don't want to just talk about it, but we want to actually do it. The other thing is, as far as an activity goes, event goes, the chamber operations, not the chamber operations, but the visitor center operations are considered a daily event every day that it's open. That's the way the grantors look at that. And they have to look at it different. Otherwise, we wouldn't qualify for anything. We'd have to go for some other kind of tourism-related funding. Do you have any questions for me? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Keith. With that, I have a motion to send it back to LTAC committee. I have a first and a second. So we will take a vote on that before any other action items. Ms. Hogan.
Councilmember Friend?
Aye.
Councilmember Houston?
Aye.
Councilmember Hall?
No.
Councilmember Dowdy?
Aye.
Councilmember Burke?
Aye.
Councilmember Rounds?
No.
The ayes have it. So action item J and K are not authorized to be signed. They will go back to the LTAC committee. Ms. Hogan will get that scheduled with the committee so that it will be posted on our website and also on social media. With that,
I make a motion to end the meeting.
Before we end the meeting, there's actually one more item on the agenda.
It doesn't have a.
It missed a letter, but on my template has the letter.
Oh, yes, there is.
Oh.
There is no number.
Make a motion to approve action item L.
you're right. My bad. I printed off. Yeah. Action item L, authorize the mayor to sign 5-year franchise agreement with ORRCO, Oregon Oil Recycling Company.
Motion to approve action
Second.
item L.
So a little bit of background information on this. Down by the railroad tracks, they are looking to do a bit of reclamation and cleanup work down there. The city owns the right-of-way, and they need to have a franchise agreement to be able to get in there and do the reclamation. So this is signing that, and then we can then have a right-of-way with them. They've applied for their right-of-way permits. So I have a first and a second. Any comments or questions from the city on, or community on this? Ms. Hogan.
Councilmember Rounds?
Aye.
Councilmember Burke?
Aye.
Councilmember Dowdy?
Aye.
Councilmember Hall?
Aye.
Councilmember Houston?
Aye.
Councilmember Friend?
Aye.
The time is now 9:08. Have a great evening. Thanks, everybody.